Hey everyone, welcome to the Film Pittsburgh Fall Festival. And I am delighted to share some Q&A with these great creators behind some of the shorts you just saw. And I'm going to start with Haim. Introduce yourself for us.
Hi, I'm Haim Zubida and I'm representing the movie Shh. I'm the screenwriter.
Terrific, Haim. Thank you. India?
Hi, I'm India Dupre. I'm the writer-director of Ring.
Thank you. Hi, Ted.
Teddy Haynes. I directed and wrote the short film Ticks.
Great. Lewis?
Hi, I'm Lewis Taylor, writer-director of Sleep Tight.
Thank you. Richard and Callie, as a group.
Richard, and I am the director-producer, and Callie.
I'm Callie. I'm the writer-producer of Becky.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline, and I'm the writer and director of Your Monster.
Terrific. Thanks, everyone. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to start with Haim again, because Haim, here's my first thought on your short. That escalated quickly. Tell us a little bit about that.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But unfortunately, we had only 13 minutes to escalate the things. So knives had to be taken out very, very fast. When I saw the movie after Jonathan Mordechai, the brilliant director, directed it and sent me a copy of it, I didn't think that it escalated fast. I was under the impression that there were some moments that were bringing us up to it. I remember that when my wife read the script, she asked me why is the man acting so violently, and I was saying he was not the one who's acting violently. You know, the wife is taking the actions. She's doing the things that are the aggression things. She takes away the salt. She takes away his phone. While the husband, you know, he pees in his own soup plate because she took the salt and he wanted some taste inside, so he has to do it. But he's doing it to himself. He's doing everything to himself until the point that he has to break the finger of his wife. That's the but the transcending I think was mild.
Well, you started with a premise that was universal to all parents, is keeping the baby quiet pretty much at all costs, especially when they're new and you're a new parent. Was that personal experience, or how did the film come about?
Well, I think that the premise is there, but the main issue that I dealt with in my personal and private life with my wife was suddenly the lack of freedom. When we didn't have the babies, I could grab my wallet, I could grab my keys, and I'm out of the door, seeing my friends, seeing a soccer match or whatever. But after the baby was born, then you have to take into consideration all these things, and including your wife's or your spouse's freedom. Mm-hmm. Maybe she wants to go with friends. Maybe she doesn't want to stay. Maybe she wants to sleep. All of these things melted down, but I have to say that the most interesting response that we're getting about these films are from a mature audience, the grandfathers and the grandmothers who are seeing the film, and now they are saying we are seeing our children right now in this same situation of a bubbling a pot that's about to explode any minute, and really we're trying to calm them down, telling them that it's just a phase. Maybe they should see the movie.
Yeah, or maybe not.
No, maybe not.
I don't know. It was very well done. It really, hopefully all those new parents out there will resolve their issues in a slightly different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And India, tell us about your very timely movie, Ring.
Well, first of all, hi, Pittsburgh. I hope to come visit there one day.
Yes,
I love seeing cities in America. So Ring was inspired by, I had a Ring camera And I would kind of catch little bits of conversation with my neighbors when I would look through it. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I'd lived in this apartment building for so long that I'd seen all kinds of weird things and heard weird things and imagined weird things. So I just wrote this script very quickly, and then somehow we managed to make it happen. You know, I used my apartment building. I got my neighbors to play the ambulance workers so that I could use their locations as well, and nobody would complain about screaming noises and things. So it was a very personal little. Everyone that was there wanted to be there and was excited to be there. My mom did the craft services, and you know, I have students that I teach, and they came and helped, and so it was just really fun to do. And yeah, it was all inspired by things I'd seen and heard, and just this feeling of technology and that someone is always watching.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, just on the sad side of things, like my mom has been through domestic violence, so I researched a lot about that. So I kind of knew about the cycle of this. You know, they apologize afterwards, and it all starts all over again. And then I just wanted to put a little twist in there.
Well, you sure did.
So,
Yeah.
And I wasn't planning to be that person. My accountant, who I've loved for years, I gave him that role, and he was going to be this kind of neighbor that hated technology and was always coming up and checking for his mail. And he was the one that did it. But he died a week before the shoot. So I dedicated the film to him, and I kind of adapted and took his role.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Was it shot through a Ring doorbell, or did you use a lens? Tell us, because the whole time I was like, is that a fisheye lens?
Yes. Well, I had this great DP, David, and we studied all of my Ring footage and how the shutter opened and the kind of jump effects and things. And then we just matched it with a fisheye lens that just stayed in the same position in my doorway, just because we were hoping, you know, if it's on the big cinema, it'll just look better shot from a professional camera. But my husband is an editor, so not only does he help me setting up these Zoom calls and everything, he is also an editor. So he did all those kind of sound effects and jump glitches so that we could tell the story quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was great, and it was a movie for our time with those ubiquitous Ring doorbells that so many people seem to have. It was great. Thanks.
Thank you for watching.
And Ted, you shot your film right here in Pittsburgh. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I thought so. Tell us about Ticks.
Oh boy. It kind of was my little love story to Pittsburgh. I moved out of town in 2017. Was really excited to come back and make this film, and it got its start. I thought, oh boy, go back to 2015, sitting in Shenley Park, thinking about, I want to make a film that's challenging for an actor, challenging for a director of photography, cinematographer. And I started the script and thought, what the hell am I doing? It's hard enough to make a movie. Why should I add all these other elements that make it more challenging? Until my lead, Jack Erdy, had made a post almost a year ago to the day on Facebook that said, hey, I'm looking for someone to give me a role that I can really sink my teeth into. And it made me think about that story and go back to it. And I presented it to Jack. And I had a close friend of mine who taught filmmaking at one point that told me there was nothing redeemable about the story. So that was fun. So we went back to the drawing board. Yeah, I know, right? So we went back to the drawing board on the script, went through several revisions to get it where it is today, and really wanted to tell a story that just takes a unique approach to talking about mental illness and the impact of mental illness, and maybe had a little bit of dark in it at the end.
It absolutely had a little bit of dark at the end. And Jack really had to carry that film for you, didn't he? I mean, it was sort of a tour de force.
Yeah, and he's just amazing in the thing, and I can't say enough wonderful things about his talent. I mean, everybody should be casting him for everything. To steal a Kevin Smith line, he should be the shark in Jaws. Like I just think there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and he did a phenomenal job in this short. Thanks for sharing it with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lewis, tell us about Sleep Tight. Where did this idea come from?
Well, from the want and desire to make a short film, really. That's the basis of it. But it's I've got a love for horror, and I wanted to do a sort of a throwback film. Noticing my big shadows here. Throwback film without having it set in the time period. Because if you look at stuff like Stranger Things, which is great, by the way, it's essentially modern day filmmaking techniques set in the 80s. And I want to do the opposite. So I want to do sort of 80s and 70s filmmaking techniques set now. And then I did sort of like a comedic spin on sleep paralysis, and just you do it and hope that it's funny, really.
It was, and the ending made me laugh out loud. Of course, it was.
Thank you.
It was quite surprising. So you really pulled it together. Tell us about your lead actors.
Well, Mark, who's the father in it, he's a friend of mine. He's like he's in The Crown, The Alienist. He's in loads of stuff. And Joe, who's the son, it's just I found him online. He got in contact with me. I put up an ad. I had like about 100 responses, and he was by far the best and kind of got the tone. Yeah, really, really great. And then Pauline, who's the monster in it, she's an actress as well and a friend of mine, and she's this little 5-foot adorable French actress. So we just caked her in monster makeup and made her look horrifying, hopefully.
Yeah, it's funny to hear you call her adorable, because she's not in this movie.
No, not at all. She's horrible in the film, but she's absolutely lovely in real life. Well,
that's a tribute to FX makeup, I think, as well.
Yeah, that was a lovely Susie, who's a makeup effects artist, and her partner Laurie, who have I think it's the world's only entirely female makeup effects company in the world, called Red Girl Effects, and they've done. You guys seen Alien Covenant?
Yes.
The thing that comes out the guy's back?
Yeah.
They made that. They did Star Wars. They've done loads. So they're way more talented than I'll ever be in my life.
That's amazing. Well, they did a phenomenal job. It was really surprising and really fun. So thanks. It's always different to have sort of a fun twist on a horror. You think you know where it's going, and then it surprises you. So that was great. Thank you. And Richard and Callie, your short is about a trip, and I think we need to confess that you are in fact on a trip right now.
We are. Indeed, we are.
A little bit about Beckend.
It was born from an idea that I had made a short with a couple of actors previously, and we found this remarkable location in Lake Arrowhead. And I was told that I could reuse that location if I came up with a story that would be relevant to that location. So my wife, Callie, and I sort of sat around and brainstormed. And then I said, you know what, honey, I can't think of an idea. It's on you. So she knew the location well. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about how that story came about. And then I'll tell you how we made the film.
Well, Richard and I both love ghost stories. So we knew that we wanted it to be a ghost story. We had to engineer it around this wonderful location, which had a beautiful lake, just the forest. So it just seemed natural that it would be centered around protagonists who were, lost or stranded or abandoned or something, stuck in the forest, and had to reckon with this spiritual creature.
This apparition.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the apparition.
So what's interesting for us in telling this story is, rather than the protagonist getting chopped up and mutilated at the end of the movie, which is pretty standard fare.
Which is also expensive.
We had a limited budget.
Yeah, so with our budget, we did have to, engineer the story. It's challenging, as you horror filmmakers know, to make a suspenseful, story with conflict that's cheap. So that was a challenge for us as well.
And you did it.
But, yeah, and the apparition, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you guys haven't seen the film, what we tried to do is tell a story that had some hope in the end, instead of, like I said, you know, the mutilation of our protagonists. And I think that was a little unique or unique to what the horror genre is, and ended it in sort of a poetic way, for lack of a better word, and there's some hope by the end, and you know, there's a purpose behind it all.
And we also wanted to present a female protagonist who's not your typical horror woman who makes really dumb decisions.
Don't go in the barn. Don't go in the barn.
I mean, she does go after, you know, she does do things that, you know, maybe that takes a lot of courage, but it's not out of stupidity. It's out of, you know, wanting to help her boyfriend who's in terrible distress.
Yeah.
Yeah, we flipped it a little. Like, it was the boy who's, oh, help, help. So I think we gave some kind of voice to the women being strong, and we were both very big on getting that done.
And the actress, she's actually a Power Ranger who's amazing. She's trained in martial arts. She did her own stunts, and she was an amazing trooper. She had to do things that I don't think any of the men would have wanted to do.
Let me tell you this about the actors, you guys. So David, my lead, did the movie with me before. He's the one who came to me and said, let's do another one and have this occasion. And so then Ciara had seen that film that we had done, came to me and said, oh, I want to come do a movie with you. Of course, we wrote it around, well, we didn't write it around her, but she read the script and then came aboard, yada, yada. But it turned out that she just refused to have anybody help her. And she was incredible. And she made David. David was the baby. He was the baby. I hope he doesn't see this. I mean, I won't let him see this.
No, David was great.
No, David was wonderful too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They were great. And it was a tough shoot. All night shoot. 4 nights, all night shoot. Very tough going, but it just was a great experience.
Yeah, you pulled it off. It was great, and your actors were terrific, and we're so glad you shared it with our audience.
Thank you.
Caroline, tell us about your monster.
Well, it's a personal story to me that I kind of spun in a more supernatural way, and I found out about this grant through Women in Film, and I applied and I got it, and that was very exciting to get the support to make the film through an organization that supports female filmmakers. And the rest was, you know, it really just came together. I mean, I was very lucky. I knew Tommy Dewey, who played the monster, and he got on board to play the monster, which was the dream come true. And then Kimiko came, which was amazing, and Scott, Michael Foster. So I got this great cast, and we had pretty much only women on set who made the film. It was like a 95% female crew, which was also an incredible experience because I had only been on sets with the majority men, I think. And it was really lovely. So it came together. It was, it's based on a screenplay that I wrote, and I crammed it into 15 minutes when I found out about the grant. And I was like, how am I going to put this feature in a short form?
Well, you did it. You told that complete story, again, with a really interesting ending that was unexpected, which I loved. Mm-hmm. And you pulled it off in 15 minutes. So that's kudos to you, because it's hard to tell a full story in a short film. So I don't think people understand how hard that actually can be. But your actors, you're right, totally just win you over. Both of the two main leads were phenomenal. The monster was so funny. I just couldn't take my eyes off him. He was
Tommy, I mean, it's so funny. I ran into him And I ran into him and I was working on the short and I was thinking, oh my God, his voice, he's such a dry sense of humor. He would be the perfect monster. But like, you know, he's coming off of this like hit show. And I'm like, he's never going to want to do this. Like, he's never going to say yes to this. And I emailed him. It's like, what in any world would you consider playing a monster in my short film? And he was like, are you, of course, like no one's ever asked me to play a monster in my life. You know, he's always played like as like the charming lead or the boyfriend or, you know, because he's such a great looking guy. But he was like, yeah, like I'd love to play a monster. And he really embodied it. I mean, it was so awesome to see. The first time he put on where he did the makeup, it was just like, he was like, this is the real me.
It's come out.
Yeah. So
it's funny you mention his voice because I literally spent the first couple of minutes going, is that Bill Hader? Like, he has the same sort of delivery as Bill Hader in the voice. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to like look at the eyes really closely, but he is his own person. Yeah. He made that character his own, and he really was so winning.
You know, that's so funny that you said Bill Hader, because initially when I was writing Monster, I was like, oh, this would be cool to have someone like Bill Hader. And I think Tommy has some of that kind of just like dry, just hysterical, such a grounded actor. So yeah, I think they're similar in their approaches to acting, but yeah, I'm so glad you appreciated Monster. I love him.
Oh, great. It really also, it had so many levels to it, you know, for a little sort of comedic short, the developments that she went through to sort of get to the end, and you're not really sure, is there going to be a romance in the middle? Like it was, you really gave it a lot of different levels, which was really great. And then at the end, I mean, she kind of found her voice through her connection with him, right?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the ending is not. I'm not supporting that. You know, she lets her anger and her inner monster kind of take over, and she behaves in a way that is not really appropriate. But the moral of the story is, if you stuff away your monster in the closet and don't really get to know it, then you know bad things can happen. As opposed to, I mean, and just in general with women, you know, we are not taught to embrace our anger.
Yes.
And this is a story about like learning to like that part of yourself and even kind of fall in love with your monster. So yeah, but don't kill your ex-boyfriends. It's probably
not kill your ex-boyfriend.
It's probably not the best thing to do, even if he breaks up with you.
Find your monster, but don't
kill your exes or people who wronged you.
Well, that is how can I not end on that note? Yeah. Thank you all so much for talking with me. This has been so much fun, and we loved your work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.